of 3 wise men.
Now when Jesus was born at Bethlehem, a new star was seen in the eastern sky. And some time later, wise men from a far country came to Jerusalem, saying,
"Where is the child who was born to be King of the Jews? We saw his star rising in the east and have come to worship him."
The words of the wise men were carried to King Herod, who ruled the land with the permission of Rome. The Romans were the real rulers. Now Herod wanted to remain king and not give way to anyone else. So he sent for the chief priests and asked them,
"Where is the Messiah, the Christ, to be born?"
"In Bethlehem, O king, for it is written, out of Bethlehem shall come a ruler who will govern my people of Israel."
Then King Herod sent for the wise men, and they told him they had seen the new star in the skies of their own country for the first time 2 years before. And then they said,
"The star has led us all the way to this land, to find the child, that we may worship him. Do you, O king, know where he may be?"
In Bethlehem, they say. Go, search him out, and when you have found him, bring me word, that I too may go and worship him.
The wise men set out from Jerusalem, and the star they had seen in the east went before them, and they followed it to Bethlehem. Passed over the house where the child, the wise men cried out with joy, and they went into the house with the gifts they had brought from their country. And when they saw him, when they saw the child lying near Mary his mother, they fell on their knees before him and bowed their heads to the newborn king. Then they opened their treasure chests and laid out their gifts before him, gold and sweet-smelling frankincense and myrrh. Then the wise men left Bethlehem to return to their own land. But they did not stop at Jerusalem, for a dream warned them to say nothing to King Herod. When the wise men had gone, an angel of the Lord came to Joseph, the husband of Mary, where he lay sleeping, and the angel said,
"Rise up and take the child and his mother and flee with them into Egypt and stay there until I tell you, for Herod is about to search for the child to kill him."
So Joseph rose up and set out that night with the child and Mary his mother, and they made their way safely into Egypt. They stayed there until Herod died. Then, at God's order, they came back to their homeland and settled at Nazareth in Galilee. And there Jesus lived with Mary and Joseph until it was time for him to begin his great work.
The Good Samaritan.
When Jesus was about 30 years old, he was baptized by his cousin John the Baptist. Then he gathered disciples around him, and he journeyed with them from town to town, preaching to the people. And in one town, a lawyer asked him,
"Master, what must I do to gain eternal life?"
What is written in the law? Tell me.
"Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself."
That is right. Do this, and you will live.
But then the lawyer said to Jesus,
"Who is my neighbor?"
Let me tell you a story. A man was on his way from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he met up with robbers who beat him and stripped him. Then they went off, leaving him half dead. Now by chance, a certain priest was going down the same road. But when he saw the man lying there, he passed by on the other side. Then a second man came along, a Levite, but he too passed by without helping. Then along came a third man, a Samaritan on a donkey, and he stopped to help him.
A Samaritan? But the men of Samaria are no friends of our people, nor are we friends to them. Their ways are not our ways.
Yet When he saw the man lying injured and alone, the Samaritan felt pity for him, and he went and bandaged his wounds, and treated them with oil and wine, and brought him to an inn, and took care of him. Next day, the Samaritan gave the innkeeper some money and said, "I must go now. Look after this man, and if it costs more than I have given you, I will pay it when I come back. Now, tell me, you man of law, which of the 3 men on the road to Jericho acted like a neighbor to the man who was beaten and robbed? Then go and do as he did."
And Jesus went up and down the land, telling stories and working to lead the people to love God and live justly and love their neighbors as they love themselves.
The Prodigal Son.
Jesus preached to all the people, those who kept the law and those who broke it alike. But a doctor of the law spoke up against this, saying,
This man, Jesus, welcomes sinners and treats them as equals. Why?
And Jesus heard him and said,
Why? Because there is greater joy in heaven over one sinner who changes his ways and does right than over 99 persons who live good lives and do not need to.
Master, I do not know what you mean.
Then hear me.
And Jesus told this story. There was a farmer, he said, who had 2 sons. And the younger one said,
Father, give me my share of the farm now, the share that will come to me when you are gone.
And the father did as his son asked. Then, only a few days later, the young man sold out his share and took the money and went to a far country. And there he spent his money quickly and foolishly, all of it. Soon, in order to stay alive, he had to go to work on a farm feeding pigs. It was hard work, and he was always hungry. Then one day he realized the wrong he had done his father, and he made up his mind to go beg his forgiveness. And he left the country and made his way home. His father saw him coming while he was still a long way off, and he ran to his son and took him in his arms. And the young man said,
Father, I have sinned against God and against you. I am no longer fit to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired men.
But his father only hugged him again and kissed him and said to his servants,
Quick, bring my cloak, my best one for my son. Put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. And kill the fatted calf. Let there be feasting.
Now the elder son, the young man's brother, was out working in the field. And when he heard the music and the dancing, he sent a servant to find out what it meant. And when the servant told him, the elder son grew angry. And he went to his father, saying, These many years I have served you, and I obeyed all your commands. Yet never once did you kill even a young goat to make a feast for me. But when my brother comes, after wasting all your money, you kill a fatted calf for him and feast him to the skies. Why, father, why?
Son, you are always with yours also. But your brother was dead to me, and now he has come back to life. Isn't it fitting that we should feast and be glad for him?
That is the story that Jesus told, saying,
I tell you, the angels of God rejoice over a sinner who changes his ways and does right.
A crucifixion.
Jesus preached for 3 years, and in that time he made many friends throughout the land. They believed that he was the Son of God, and that God had sent him as the Messiah, the Christ, to redeem Israel and all the world. But Jesus also made enemies. Some thought him a false prophet who was leading the people away from the law of Moses and God. Jesus went up to Jerusalem with his disciples for the Passover, the feast that marks the day God saved the people of Israel from their taskmasters in Egypt. He was accused of calling himself King of the Jews and arousing the people against the rule of Rome. And he was arrested and brought before Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor. Only Pilate could order a man to be put to death as a rebel, and he did. Then the Roman soldiers led Jesus away to Golgotha, the hill outside the city where men were put to death on the cross. A great crowd of people followed Jesus out to Golgotha, and the women wept for him. But Jesus turned and said,
"Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me. Weep for yourselves and your children for the days that are to come."
And at Golgotha, the soldiers nailed Jesus to the cross. And this they did also to two thieves, one on the right side of Jesus and one on the left. And Jesus looked up toward heaven, and he said,
"Father, forgive them. They do not know what they are doing."
And the soldiers offered him vinegar to drink, and laughed at him, saying, "Why don't you save yourself, King of the Jews?" And the thief who hung on the cross to one side of Jesus screamed at him, saying,
"You are the Christ, aren't you? Then save yourself and us."
But the second thief scolded the other, saying,
Have you no fear of God? We're all being punished the same way. But we are paying for crimes, and this man has done nothing wrong. Jesus, remember me when you come to your throne.
Hear me. You will be with me in paradise today.
By now it was midday, and a darkness fell over the land. For 3 hours the sunlight failed, and Jesus cried out,
Father, into thy hands I commit my spirit.
And the body of Jesus was laid away in a cave in a hillside, and a great stone was rolled over the mouth of the tomb. Then, 3 days later, the women who had followed Jesus all the way from Galilee, Mary of Magdala and the others, went to the tomb, and they found the stone rolled away, and the body of Jesus was gone. And suddenly, 2 men in shining garments stood before them, saying,
Why look for the living in this place of the dead? He is risen!